Hi, I'm Jeff, and I am 100% human. And I say that because today you see in your feeds on all your different social medias and different YouTube channels, everything is AI. Everyone is using their ChatGPT and Grok and whatever to generate content. Their opinions aren't even their own anymore. They're asking them AI what opinion they should have. So, whether it be the videos or the text or whatever, this is 100% human. So you're not going to see anything but that on this channel. Today, what we're going to do is have a look at a channel. We did a review earlier on a Mr. Beast video and just pulling out some nuggets of wisdom from that, watching a weight loss journey there. But now I want to look at another one called Oosgang. So this is a Samoan guy in New Zealand who he was 257 kilos. And he decided that he was going to go on a weight loss journey, and over the course of 100 weeks, and he was going to, vlog the whole thing, and take his audience on a journey with him. Have that accountability with his audience, and just track the whole thing. And he amassed a huge following. People, really loved to watch his journey. He was really vulnerable, big-hearted guy, but he goes on quite a journey, and it's a really interesting educational process to watch, right? And that's why I think it would be really valuable to have a look at that today. After having seen this, I thought it would be really valuable to pull out some teachable moments in this process that, so as a trainer and a therapist and having helped people with this before and really understanding the points at which some guidance would have helped. In the last video that he did talking about why he had failed and what he's going to do next, he spoke of that now he's going to get a nutritionist and a trainer, and he's not going to record it this time. He wants to do it in private. My wife was saying that what he needs is a mind coach, not actually a nutritionist and a trainer. Like, his problem wasn't that he didn't have the right diet plan or he didn't have the right exercise plan. It was at some point it's the old habits started slipping back in, and he didn't know why, and he just felt completely out of control with it. He just felt zero power to intervene with that. At that point, if he had the right diet from a nutritionist, is that really going to make much difference? He was eating lots of takeaway, lots of burgers and chocolate and crap, like all these old habits. He didn't need a nutritionist to tell him not to eat that stuff. It was about getting the mind back on track, about getting his unconscious mind back in the game. In the very first video, where he was explaining what he was going to do and what the whole process was going to be, the 100 weeks and all that, he said,
"Welcome to week 1 of trying to lose weight."
Trying to lose weight. Yeah, that's where he had declared that the journey was going to be an effort for him to try and lose weight. Now, this is a very hypnotic word. Words are basically packages of information that we have and that our nervous system responds to, right? When I say the word happy, there's a whole package of information there, what it feels like, why you would feel something like that. If I say sad or scared, all those words, it evokes a certain thing too, right? So when he said the word try, when you think of the word try, does that sound like it's going to happen or it's not? Right? If I said to you, I tried to lift that chair yesterday, you get the impression that it did happen or it didn't. I tried to suggests that it didn't happen. There was an attempt to do so, but it failed, right? This already sets it up as like that it's going to be a try, which means it's going to be a fail. There'll be an attempt, but it probably is going to fail. So there's almost an expectation of failure already baked in. So that's not a good start. Only be looking at and thinking about the closest thing that will happen. I am going to put in my best effort. That's something you can be confident about. You don't have to think about trying to do so. You want to stay in a place of confidence in what you can do. Stay where you can confidently say, this is going to happen. I am going to go for a walk this week, because he was consistently able to do his exercise. Another thing in the first video was that it was his birthday on that week, and he said that in the very first week of the diet, he was going to have a cheat day. Your motivation is the highest when you've just started. Motivation it fades over time. Now the thing is too, when it's hard, when it's a difficult time to probably do it, you get that win early on, there's something about it that just empowers you and it gives you that momentum. It shoots you forward. Like, I made it work even during a difficult time. I can do this. And that was the case for me, in Christmas. It was like to have done well over that time, that I felt that, anything else was easy, It was sort of a missed opportunity there and a red flag for Usgang. Fast forward to the point where he starts to wobble, right? So up until this point, it was about week 61 is where we see it. Obviously, throughout that whole time, he's losing weight, he's getting fitter, everyone's excited. The whole community is excited to see it. He's got heaps and heaps of people following him. It's a wild ride to that point. But then at about that week 61 is where he starts to wobble, and it was an apology that he was making.
But I apologize, and I'm so sorry, guys. But I'm going to show my skill more now. I'm going to show... I've been hiding it because I was scared, but I think I just need to be honest and be open about the struggles of weight loss. I apologize again, guys. So sorry, guys.
Been slipping. I've been going back into all my old habits and doing. And he said sorry. He said sorry maybe like 20 times, and he was just so ashamed of it, and he was so sorry and apologetic for it. And it wasn't about him, it was, he felt this sense of obligation to his audience, and he was letting people down, and it just put a lot of pressure. It was a lot of pressure that you could see that he was sort of being crushed under the weight of that pressure. And this is always a dangerous thing, I think, and we talked about in one of the Mr. Beast video, where him maintaining that weight, the weight loss that he had and over the next 20 years, if he's going to keep that weight off, you're not always going to have the pressure of an audience, of a YouTube audience watching you, encouraging you, keeping you going. So whether it be the punishment of their disapproval or the reward of their praise, that is kind of it's not a condition that's always going to be there. It's not personal. It's not about him and the benefits he's going to get and how much it's improving his life and what a difference it's making for him. It was just about not wanting to disappoint people. So that right away there shows that mental shift where, again, that became a big red flag, because when you feel like you're catering your entire life to other people's sensitivities, then it's very uninspiring. Even if it's just for one person, if it's for your partner, or whether it's for an ex, for you to try and win back an ex, a wedding, any of those circumstances, if it's being done for that, it's others. Yeah, to impress others, to get their approval or not. That condition is not always going to be there. But also, it's just, there's something about us humans that you want to rebel against something that feels like it's being imposed on you as well. So people impose, like if you're at the point where you're like, you know what, I want to have that chocolate or something, and the reason why you're not going to have it is because other people are going to have a problem with it. There's kind of a sort of innate reaction to that, which is just like, I'll do what I want. Like, stop trying to impress me and make me do something, or you don't want to be controlled by other people's opinions. So so there's a weird kind of push and pull there. Of course, you part of you wants to lose weight, but part of you doesn't want to be told what to do. So it's like it creates this wrestle inside. And that's why the whole premise of the whole thing really of like, I'm going to do this thing on YouTube so that I have an audience that keeps me accountable and their opinions are going to keep me in line. That, I mean, to be honest, that alone is a dangerous thing to do. From that point is where he sort of started to lose the sort of enthusiasm and commitment for the process that he was doing. You started to see that he sort of stopped losing weight. He may have lost a little bit more, but he sort of stopped weighing in much up until like about week 80. In 80 something, he ended up weighing in again, and then they identified that he had lost about 67 kilos in total. Yeah, and by the end of it, he seemed like at the end of it, it was like he had put a lot of the weight back on, and it was you actually went to. It was interesting watching the journey and seeing all the comments in the comment section. At first it was really, really supportive and really happy for him and all that, and then in the end, when he had spent like tens of weeks, like starting to, just falter on his diet. He was just he was doing exercise, but he didn't talk about his diet anymore. He didn't weigh in. It was obvious that it kind of he had lost his way there. And then in the end, he had sort of went off social media for a while, and then did another video, and someone asked, so why did you fail your weight loss journey? And he has admitted, basically he failed, and he looked like he had put pretty much the whole thing back on. Being in a place where you have belief is absolutely essential. If you lost, and maybe for Usgang, there was a point at which he saw the light at the end of the tunnel, but then started to lose it. At the beginning, he saw that light. He was heading towards it. But then all of a sudden it started to go dim. And then once it went dim and he just went, I don't think I'm going to get there. I don't think I can get there. It makes it almost impossible to continue, because it's like, well, no, this is just painful. I'm just missing out on this yummy foods, and I'm just saying no for no reason. I'm never going to get there. Belief is so important. If you do not believe that you can do it, you will not. Right? So before you're going to find that weight loss, you got to find belief first. You have to connect to something that you can believe. You have to, like I said, you can believe is that. Like I said, I can go walking this week. I can do something, like whatever it is, however small, in the right direction. The fact is, no one knows what they will definitely achieve, what they could possibly achieve at the end of the day. Whatever what can you achieve at the end of 10 years of just of moving in that direction? I don't know. No one knows, but it's something. Like given enough time, just meandering in the right direction, you'll get somewhere. You may not have be the on the cover of fitness magazines, but you're probably going to be in a much healthier, better place. Just wandering in the right direction. So he did a video talking about, as he spoke of, he did a video talking about how he had failed and what he wants to do going forward. And he said this time he doesn't want to record it, right? So he does, or he doesn't want to be doing a week by week analysis. So he may do some updates and things. I mean, you'll be able to see it if he's making videos about it. But I don't think that's probably a healthy thing for him not to do it. Although, I mean, everything has two sides, right? So in one sense, it just allows him to fail in private, so there's no pressure. But again, as we've just spoken of, pressure, it sounds like a good idea, It sounds like, I'll be pressured to do it. But ultimately, it's not a sustainable condition, and it just doesn't feel good. So, it's a sense of desperation instead of inspiration, or it's not, it's not fun. So that aside, right? He said something that he didn't focus on that much, that I think was probably a huge factor that he didn't talk about during his journey, and he didn't. He didn't go into and blame it all, but I want to just pay some respect to it, right, is that his dad, shortly after he had done the whole journey, his dad died, right? It was of lung cancer, I believe. And what I'm assuming is that there was a journey there, probably, for months, if not years prior, and, leading up to the death, his dad was probably getting a lot worse, right? And that is something that definitely would have disrupted his energy. We talked about energy earlier, right? It just brings into question a lot of things, and especially in his culture and in everyone's culture, but that in the very tight family connection that they have there, it's absolutely devastating. To this whole world would become fully and completely crushed by having his father pass, and he talked about it. He couldn't barely talk about it without crying on the show and on the video. Now, leading up to that, I'm sure it would have been on his mind, and it would have been, it's just, like I said, bringing into question just the meaning of life. Why the hell do this anyway? Who cares? Like, why do I need to lose weight at all? We're going to die anyway, So
it definitely would have been bringing up some hard questions and disrupting the whole thing, you know. So, look, you know, because part of the whole motivation of it too was probably he wanted his father to be proud of him, you know, so he could have more family connection and more positive emotion and feel good, you know. And then again, we're striving towards more positive emotion, you know, towards a more meaningful and fun and engaging life, and yet there's this grief that's going to happen in the next few months. I'm assuming, you know, leading up to in the last half probably of his journey, the 100-week journey. Like it was this looming thing, you know, and then yeah. Again, he didn't talk about it in the videos, but a lot of this would have been happening unconsciously, right? So say, for example, his dad has an episode, something like that, and then it just brings up all these sort of existential questions and this, you know, questions about the meaning of life and the meaning of doing anything, you know, and then also the anticipation of all the pain he's going to have to experience, and that's emotional, you know, and the way that he obviously has dealt with emotion his whole life, as a lot of people do, but obviously, you know, him probably this is his favored emotional coping mechanism is food, right? So when something that big happens, you know, his father's death looming, then he's gonna lean on that thing has always been there, you know, has always provided that comfort, and those old habits come back. It's in your nervous system. It's a way to lean on something that you feel solid, you know, and to you know, it's providing that. There's something about food. It's very comforting. You know, you know, it's tapped into a whole survival mechanism. Of course, you know, we don't eat, we die. Something very soothing about it, and obviously for him, that it's at a time where that was coming up. He needed it for comfort, I guess, you know. So, but I would say that there's no way I don't perceive that he would have been aware of that was the thing that was influencing him back into those habits. The pain of what he knew was coming. He was tucking it away in his unconscious mind, and then just trying to just suppress that, and then these self-soothing behaviors just leak in, you know, and you just feels like it's completely out of control. So, you know, I want to give him some grace there, and know that, and say that he would have to be sort of counseled through that. And this is coming back to what my wife mentioned about needing a mind coach as opposed to a nutrition coach or a trainer. Like the problem wasn't with the lack of understanding of the right diet or motivation to train. In his case, it wasn't. He loved the training. He couldn't get enough of it. He loved it. That wasn't the problem. The problem was that he had emotional circumstances come up, didn't know how to deal with it, used his usual coping mechanism, you know, and wasn't aware of that. Anything that you go through, viewer, it doesn't have to be someone dying. It doesn't have to be that full on. It can just literally be a question of, where am I heading? What am I doing here? Like, you know, what's happening with my career? You lose your job, or you know, or you just decide you don't like your job anymore and you don't know what to do next. You know, that can be very destabilizing, you know. So a partner, you know, you're having a fight with your partner, even just something that might pop up a lot. Maybe you have trouble with it, and it's like every time that happens, there's this sort of coping strategy that is programmed into your nervous system that you just react to like a cat. You know, it's just like something happens, you just react.
So these are quick fire questions, and don't want to give too much of a response. If any of the viewers like these questions and want to hear more about your answer, let us know down in the comments. Is 100 weeks too long for a weight loss challenge?
No, absolutely not. That is a beautiful amount of time. I think 2 years is so much more realistic and so much more. I always say the longer that it takes to achieve the goal, the longer that it lasts. You know, imagine if it just took you lost all the weight you needed in 6 weeks, and you know that old version of you was only 6 weeks ago. Like but when it's been 2 years, you know these new habits, they've had so long to bake in. So it's much more likely to last. You know, just slow and steady, sort of gradual evolution of your life into something, rather than this kind of just like, you know, just rapid change that just never lasts, you know.
Do you think he should try it, or he should make this attempt again, or do the attempt to lose as much weight in 100 weeks?
No, look, it didn't work in that format for him, so he should do something different, but maybe not 100% different. But you know, I mean, like you said, he should maybe if this time he needs to have a mind coach. This time he needs to include something else in the process. Otherwise, he's just going to repeat the same thing.
Do you think the comments are what ruined his experience in the journey? Reading the comments.
I think even if the comments were all positive, he still would have had the same effect. Like I think that the comments definitely influenced him. I think positive or negative comments or no comments would all have. I think they would have all roads lead to Rome. Like I think it would have ended up the same. You'll just perceive it a particular way. No comments, you just feel no engagement. It feels a bit empty. Bad comments, you know, they're no good. Yeah, they make you feel bad. Good comments, they create a lot of pressure to perform for it.
Last question, because we're running out of battery.
Yeah.
What would you say to youth?
Youth,
if he's watching.
Oh, youth. Oh. Well, give me a call if you want. No. Who's? No. I would say focus on your mind. Yeah. So if that resonated with you and you've got a personal story where you think this is relevant and that could help other people, please comment down below. Let us know how this applies to you. Follow along, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.